All right, let's turn on Do Not Disturb so nobody bothers. Okay,
Okay, I'm gonna do the same.
all right. So let's go.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for taking the time out to get together some great questions for our audience. Some things that people have questions about when it comes to advertising, marketing, sales, all that good stuff. And if you don't know who we are, I'm AJ. I'm with Fiture Marketing. If you come on board, you'll likely talk to me at some point. And then you want to introduce yourself real quick?
My name is Mariana, and I work for Fiture Marketing, and I'm the social media manager.
All right. Well, Mariana, thank you for putting this together. Let's go ahead and jump right in. And what's your first question?
Okay, we got a lot of questions, but there are 10 questions that they were similar. Okay, so the first question is, what are the most effective social media platforms for advertising in 2024?
Okay. So, what are the most effective social media platforms for advertising in 2024? So, I'm going to give the real answer and then I'll give the hype answer. So, the real answer is wherever your customers are at. So, for example, if you're selling, some kind of program that's for senior citizens, you probably don't want to advertise on TikTok, right? Because they're probably not spending a lot of time on that platform, right? Maybe you want to advertise on TV, radio, maybe Facebook, things like that. So the true answer is you want to advertise wherever your customers are at, right? Wherever you can reach the person you're trying to reach, that's where you should spend your ad dollars. Now, the more sexy answer to this question is that there's a lot of good stuff happening today in advertising in terms of a lot of things. In every downside, there's a benefit. So there's a lot of things that are going away with tracking and with Facebook and Instagram, the tracking isn't as good as it used to be, and some people are saying by the end of the year it's going to be gone. YouTube changed a lot of the ways that they allow us to track or to target audiences and things like that. But the beautiful thing is that right now, a lot of advertisers that don't know what they're doing or aren't good are getting out of the game, which means that there's more opportunity for you to go and advertise your business on some of these platforms like a TikTok, like a YouTube, obviously Facebook, Instagram, Google. And so the question you got to ask yourself is, where are my customers or my ideal customers spending their time? Number one. And number two, where can I get their attention and put my message in front of them? And once you answer those questions, that kind of will steer you in the right direction of where you should go advertise and spend your money.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
No
Uh,
problem.
the next question is, how can a small business maximize its social media advertising budget?
How to maximize your social media advertising budget. Well, I'll tell you the thing that is really easy to understand if you're a visual person is think of it like a bullseye, right? And in the middle of the bullseye, you have the little red dot, right? And then you have the bigger circles, and you get further and further away. Well, if you imagine that little red dot as the sale, and then the further away from the sale, right? Well, what you want to do, especially if you don't have huge budgets, is you want to start by trying to attract the people that you can get as close to the red dot as possible. So you want to have campaigns that have the intention of getting you leads, if you're a service business, or getting you people that are in the process of seeking out opportunities to buy if you're in the e-commerce business. And so you want to be really efficient with your budget. And the way to do that is a couple things. First and foremost, number one, choose who you're putting your message in front of, right? Because if you try to advertise to everyone, you're going to have to spend more money because you're going to have more misses, if that makes sense. So you're going to go out, you're going to spend your money, and there's going to be all these people that don't actually want what you have or need what you have. And so you're going to have a higher budget in order to reach more and more people. So you can be a little tighter in your targeting, a little more strategic in, where you're advertising, who you're advertising to. The second thing is try to figure out your offer. Your offer is the single most important thing. I'll use an example. It's a little extreme, but I think it's a good example. Imagine a guy, say, imagine a delicious buffet, a steak buffet, right? And you had a bunch of guys that were just crossing the desert for the last 20 days. And they get across the desert and you ask them, how much would you be willing to pay me for this steak buffet, right? And they're going to spend as much money as they possibly can because they're in such a hungry state, right? So
Yeah.
if you can find an offer that really resonates with your people, that helps them solve the problem or fulfill their desire, that's going to go a long way in getting you results as a small business owner. So think about, how can I help them? How can I show people that I can help them by actually helping them, and make an irresistible offer that gets them to take the first step or take the next step? If it's a lead generation, maybe it's some kind of evaluation, or maybe it's some kind of guide, or maybe it's some kind of thing that will incentivize them to give their information. Or if it's e-commerce, maybe it's a little low ticket, something really cheap, or an extremely beneficial discount, something like that, that gets people excited and saying, oh, you know what, I want to take advantage of this. And then you have an opportunity to sell them more and more stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
The next question is, what creative strategies can be used to stand out in a saturated market?
What creative strategies can be used to stand out in a saturated market? Well, there's a lot of psychology, advertising and marketing. There's a lot of psychology that is in play, and there's something that's called a pattern interrupt. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. What happened over the last couple years, especially because of TikTok, more and more normal everyday people have gotten better and better at doing crazy stuff to try to get people to stop scrolling, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was, before, you would watch a video and it would be something like this, someone just talking to the camera, and then people start doing stuff where they're jumping on their bed and there's these crazy transitions, or they're throwing their phone in the air, and then the next thing you know, they're in another country, and they have all these things to try to capture people's attention at the beginning, right? Well, now the market has shifted. And what I mean is that so many people are starting to do all those crazy things that now sometimes doing the boring thing is what captures attention. So, to answer your question, how can you stand out in a saturated market? Look at what everyone else is doing and do the opposite, right? So, for example, if everyone's running this way and you're the only person running the opposite way, you're going to stand out. If everyone's wearing yellow and you're the only one wearing purple, you're going to stand out. And so you got to ask yourself, what can I do that is different from everyone else in my market so I can stand out? And it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to, set a book on fire. You don't have to, jump off a two-story building to demonstrate your point. You just got to figure out, what can I do to capture people's attention for long enough to get them to pay attention to the message and to the offer that I have to share with them, because that's what you're battling for. You're battling for people's attention, and people's attention spans are this slow because we're so used to scrolling like this all day, every day, for hours every day.
Well, the other day I was watching. So, for example, I'm really close to people that they are a travel agency for this.
Mm-hmm.
So every time that is like a new, everyone posts the same thing. So you get like bored of read everything that is the same. But when you watch a video that is different, you look at that one. So I think that's the difference. Like it could be the same topic, but you can say it different in a different way. That's gonna make you like different from everyone, right?
Exactly right. Yeah, your goal is just to say, if everyone's doing this, how can I do the opposite? And how can I not look like everyone else? And if you can figure that out, that's how you'll stand out in your market. And the other way to stand out in a saturated market is by showing up consistently. So many people think that all you got to do is just show up. You know, you put your first ad out there, you post your first video, you do all these things, and magically everyone's going to be beating down your door, with a check in hand. But that's not how it actually works. We have a client in the sports industry, and we started, doing stuff for them a couple months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. And at first it was, little by little, a couple, and this is all organic. So this isn't even paid. Little by little, a couple hundred views here, a couple thousand views here. And now it's crazy. In the last 30 days, they have 11 million free people reached. 11 million people reached for free. That's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars if you were to advertise to get in front of those same 11 million people, right?
Yeah.
But it's because of the consistency. Every single day, showing up, doing the thing that needs to be done over and over and over and over again. And that consistency, you will always be rewarded for consistency. It's the same thing if you're advertising. If you turn an ad on and then you turn it off and then you turn it on and then you turn it off, you're never going to build that momentum in the marketplace. And then people are, they're just not even going to pay attention to you because they don't even recognize you. They don't, there's nothing that is giving them a reason to pay attention. But if you can consistently show up, it gives people that sense that, this is legit. This is a company that's around. They've been around. They're going to be around. This is a company that, I should probably pay attention to, and maybe they can help me solve my problem or fulfill my desire. So those are the two things, is being a little different and find a way to show up consistently.
And be patient.
Correct. Patience. Just for an example, I don't think we've turned our ads off for Fiture marketing. In the last 2 years, the ads have been consistently running without being off for a single day. We're not spending $10 a day. We're spending hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars a day on ads, and they're on every single day. And if that doesn't tell you something about what our beliefs are around how to be effective, then I don't know what does, because people speak with their wallet, right? So we're voting with our wallet by consistently advertising our own brand, our own business, and it's helped because we've added over 120 something clients in the last year and a half. So that's more than a lot of agencies out there.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, let's go to the next one. How do you measure the return on investment, the ROI, for social media advertising?
How to measure your return on social media advertising. So there's a lot of, this is an ever-changing thing. And the reason it's ever-changing is because, like I said earlier, tracking, what you're allowed to track with Facebook pixels, with Google conversion tracking, all of these things are changing with Apple and the iOS updates and all this technical stuff that people don't need to know about. But either way, things are changing and it's becoming tougher to track one-to-one, right? Where you can say, this ad generated this, etc. Now you can still do that, and we try to do that, right? But it's become a little bit of an imperfect science. Now what you want to start shifting your focus on, and what we're starting to shift our focus on, is new customer acquisition cost, right? So you look at how much you're advertising, and you're looking at how many new customers you're acquiring from your advertising, right? So how many leads, how many of those leads turn into appointments, how many of those appointments turn into sales, if you're in a lead generation situation, and if you're in an e-commerce situation, how many new customer purchases are you getting? What's the average order value of those new customer orders? And then you can start calculating your ROAS that way. So for example, let's say, for simple math, let's say you were able to get 100 new customers, each at $10 per purchase, right? And your average order value is $25. So that means every time someone buys one of those new customers buy from you, they're spending an average of $25. Well, then you can take you can take your 25 and divide it by your 10, and you'll get your ROAS, which is 2.5 return on new customer acquisition, right? So it's like I said, it's sometimes an imperfect science, even though marketing comes down to math with the tracking and whatnot. You got to look at a holistic view where you're saying, all right, this was my ad budget. This is what I spent on advertising. These were my new customers acquired. Some of them you'll be able to track one-to-one from the actual campaigns. And other people, they may see the campaign. They may click over to your website. Their kid came over and distracted them. They leave 2 weeks later. They open back up their phone and they remember that they were thinking about contacting you, and they call you. And that may never show up on a data sheet or on a report, but that all those ads, all those touches contributed to that person eventually becoming a client and picking up the phone. So you got to look at a holistic view, as well as it's like they call it the macro and the micro. The micro is the little individual numbers, the individual ads, all the things that are working on a small scale, like really tight. And then the macro is the big picture strategy, everything that's contributing to you reaching your goal. I'll tell a quick story. We had a client that we've been working with for probably 2 years. And this client had a call with the Google rep, and the Google rep was like, hey, you got this tracking thing and this tracking thing. Let's revamp all your campaigns and this and that. So they spent a lot of time with the Google rep. And what ended up happening was they turned off all our campaigns. They changed all the campaigns to these Google recommended campaigns. And then about a week or two later, Greg talked to the owner of the company. He's like, hey, how are things going? He's like, well, the analytics look good, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, are you getting more calls? And the guy's like, no, we're getting way less calls than we were getting before. And it's like, okay, so what do you care more about? Do you care more about, analytics being looking fancy so Google's happy, or do you care about getting actual calls so you can sell somebody something, right? And so you got to prioritize sales activities, things that are actually going to generate you sales. And if you're not prioritizing that, it's easy to, I use this analogy sometimes. Say someone wants to start going to the gym and losing weight. Well, what a lot of people do to avoid actually going and doing the activity, they go and they buy new shoes, and then they buy the new workout, shorts and the thing and this thing and the Fitbit and the headbands. And they didn't even do a single thing to actually contribute towards their goal. They just focused on all this other activity that isn't going to help them achieve the goal. And so it's important to focus on, do the things that are actually going to help you get the sales, that are actually going to help you get the goals. And then as you start doing those things, then worry about the other stuff. Does my video look pretty? Does it match with my brand? And like all those things, yeah, they're important, but nothing is as important as making a sale, because that is what the whole purpose of business is to help other people by selling your product or service to them. And so I think that's a big focus that is important for people.
Okay. And for example, if someone is new, like it's the first time that he's doing ads, how many days or months does he need to wait to see results? Because I think there are some people that they pay and they think like they will work. So, what's your
Yeah.
thoughts?
So that's a good question. How long does it take to start seeing results in advertising? Well, the correct answer is it depends. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables. One variable is, do you have something that people actually want, that people have purchased before, right? Have you sold whatever it is that you're trying to sell? And if the answer is no, like if you're selling something that you've never sold before, you're going to have to go through a whole lot more testing and a whole lot more trial and error, because you don't even know if people want it. And even if you know people want it, you don't know what price they're willing to pay for it. So you're in a little bit of not a disadvantage. You're just further back in the process, right? Now you contrast that to someone that does already have, sales. They're already generating sales. They already have a proven offer. They already have a proven sales process or a website that converts or a funnel that converts. Now they just need to get more people into it. those people can see results really fast. We've had clients come to us at like $3,000 a month in their e-commerce store, and the next month they're doing $25,000. And the way that they were able to do that is because they already were getting sales, they already had a pretty decent conversion rate, they already had these things that were in their favor. They just needed more traffic. It's going to be way different than the person that comes in and the person that is more just like, um, hey, I've never sold this before, but I think there's a market for it and I want to go out and advertise it. Well, that person, you're paying your advertising budget and the fee that you pay us, you're paying for data. You're paying for information. You're paying to learn, obviously with the intention of getting sales, with the intention of growing the business, but you don't even have the data to know whether or not you have a viable business. So when you're in that situation, you got to understand when you start advertising, you're paying for data. Now, obviously, you can do a lot of research on the back end to try to put the odds in your favor. But the market is going to respond, right? Like it's like you practice your dance moves for 6 months, and then you go out and you perform it, and maybe everybody loves it, or maybe they don't, right? And so the practice was to prepare you for it, but you got to eventually go out and perform, and that's kind of what you're doing when you just start advertising a new offer, a new service.
Okay. Yes. Well, let's go to the next one. Mm, for you, what are the most common mistakes business make when advertising on social media, and how can they avoid them?
Okay, so what are the most common mistakes businesses make when advertising? I would say the first one is assuming that people already know about whatever it is that you offer. Okay,
Yeah.
when I look at when I look at any conversation, and this is, I guess I'm lucky because my whole life has been in sales and marketing and communications. I studied psychology in high school. I studied psychology, my degrees in communications. I spent my whole entire career in sales and marketing. So I've really gotten to understand how people think and how people learn and all these kind of things. Because of that, I've learned to assume that nobody cares, nobody knows, nobody thinks, nobody reads, and nobody pays attention, right? And so if I go into things assuming that, that's going to force me to communicate my message in a way that can get people to do those things, right? A lot of times I think people go in because they already know about how great their business is. They already know about how they can help people. They already know all these things. So they go and they try to advertise to themselves instead of advertising to people who are in the before state, who don't know any of those things, and who, if they knew those things, they would already be where you're at, right? If they already knew how to re-cement their garage or their garage floor, they would have already done it, right? If they already knew how to lose 30 pounds with a weight loss shot, they would have already done it, but they don't. So you can't advertise to them in the same way as you would advertise to yourself. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're talking to people, meeting them where they're at, and then taking them on a journey. Because if you try to talk over people's heads, there's a saying, a confused mind won't. Right? So if you confuse people, if you confuse, you lose. If people don't understand what you're talking about, if they don't understand how it works, if they don't understand, what they need to do or what kind of commitment or any of those things, they're not going to buy because there's this question. You're not just speaking to the thinking part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. You're also speaking to people's what they call the reptilian brain, like the part of our brains that gets scared really easy, fight or flight, like that kind of our brain. You're speaking of that part of the brain. And if that part of the brain is like scared in any way, it's not going to move forward. So you have to speak really simply. You have to be able to explain things simply. You have to be able to put messages and demonstrations out that can help people to see, this is legit. This is can actually help me accomplish the thing that I want to accomplish.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Any more questions?
Yes.
Oh,
Uh, so it says like I'm a person that I don't like to show my face for recording videos for ads or my social media. Does that affect the people see my videos?
so the question is, if you don't like showing your face, is that going to impact how you market or advertise your business? And there's two answers to this question. The first answer is obviously yes, it will. Uh, there's been some studies out recently that show people would rather follow a person than a brand, meaning that, like Kim Kardashian, they would rather get their notifications about her underwear brand Skims from Kim Kardashian rather than from the Skims brand itself, right? But it doesn't mean that you have to do that, right? And so there's a lot of options. There's a lot of ways to still be great at marketing and video marketing today without showing your face. You can do voiceovers. You can have someone else represent the brand for you. You can wear a mask. There's people on TikTok and these other platforms that they wear a mask and they sell their courses or they sell their programs or whatever it is, but you never actually see their face, and that actually can be part of your strategy, right? It could be the mystery or the part of your strategy. So if you're not a person that obviously you don't have to show your face to grow a business or to grow
Yeah.
personal branding or using a attractive character in your marketing does work, especially nowadays with all the video and with all the consumption that's happening via video and via social media. It does help, but it's not a must. There's always a way to figure out how to advertise and market your business without showing your face. You just got to be creative. You just got to figure out, how. And the honest thing to do is go find other people that are doing it well and just model it. Like, just, hey, I'm just going to do that same thing. They're doing it for their cooking brand, and I'm going to do it for my HVAC company. Like that's one of the best ways to do it, because the human psychology that gets people to stop, pay attention, watch, learn, and take action is the same human psychology. You're just leveraging it for a different industry.
Yeah, yeah, like you say, I think it's depend of, like, for example, if you are a doctor, I think it's important to show your face, because if not, people will be like, who's this doctor? Like, some people want to see it, no? But if you do something, if you sell like cookies or something, I don't think it like matter 100% that your face appear, right?
Yeah, the more trust that's required, the more you want to have social proof, which is like other people saying how good you are, or great you are, or great your product or service is. So the more, and like what I mean by the more trust is, if I buy a 50-cent piece of candy, nobody has to convince me how good that piece of candy is. But if I buy a $50,000 car, I need to do some research and have some trust that this $50,000 that I'm going to be spending is going to be worth it for me, and I'm not going to look like a dummy, buying this thing. And so that's what I mean by trust is like, if you're selling something that's an impulse buy, like a couple bucks, someone just buys, you don't necessarily have to, a million testimonials, right? But if you're a plastic surgeon, operating to change someone's face, you probably got to have a lot of people whose face you have changed so they can see I'm not going to come out looking like Elephant Man or something like that.
Okay. Well, um, what's the ideal balance between promotional content and organic content in a social media strategy?
What's the ideal balance between like sales content versus like helpful content, right? Okay, so There was the old philosophy that came from Gary Vaynerchuk years ago, 2017, 2018, which was jab, 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 right hook, which means give for every 3 times that you give, you can ask once. I would probably say how you want to look at it is every jab, every time that you give value instead of asking for something, you almost want to view it like a deposit into your piggy bank, right? So you have there's a guy named Alex Hormozy, which a lot of people are familiar with. A lot of people have seen his videos. He's blown up on social media. A really intelligent, knowledgeable business person. And one of the things that he did is he's launched 2 books, and he doesn't sell any courses. He doesn't ask people. He's not asking for. He's not making big offers, right? So people have been waiting for him to make an offer. Now he recently partnered with this program called School, and he starts advertising and he starts putting out this offer, and now people are eating it up like crazy because he had so many deposits into the piggy bank that when
Yeah.
he finally made an ask, it paid a lot of money. There was a lot of money in there, right? And so it's the same strategy with your social media. Is like the more you can, the phrase help people demonstrate you can help people by actually helping them comes from a guy named Frank Kern, who's a genius internet marketer that's been around for 30 plus years. But every time you do that, like this video we're doing right now, are just little deposits into the piggy bank. And then when you finally make an offer and you say, hey, we're selling XYZ, you're going to pay the dividends because you put all those deposits in. So you obviously want to make offers and, and sell your stuff. At the same time, if the only thing you ever do is hardcore sell, people are going to stop paying attention because you're trying to take without ever giving.
Yeah. Okay. Well, well, this is the last question,
All
and I think
right. Last question.
really, really important is why I need to hire someone to do my ads if I can do it myself. I can Google
Okay.
it and I can do it myself. Gonna be
That is a fantastic question. Why would I hire someone to do my ads if I can do it myself? That is a fantastic question. And I'm going to tell you the answer that I believe, okay? Why would I do my own, or why would I pay someone to fill in the blank? So we're going to fill in the blank, okay? Why would I pay someone to pull my tooth if I can do it myself? Why would I pay someone to fix my engine if I could do it myself? Why would I pay someone to perform this surgery if I could do it myself, right? If you ask that with any other profession besides advertising on social media, the answer would be blatantly obvious, right? Because you're not a professional at it, right? because you can learn how to do it. We can learn how to do anything. YouTube is an amazing place to learn, and Google and AI and everything else. But what you have to pay is what's called the stupidity tax. Okay. And the stupidity tax is basically you don't know what you don't know. And so you're going to go out and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And I'm not saying don't do this. You probably should do this. You should probably try this first before you come hire someone like us, especially if you're just starting. But you got to pay the stupidity tax. So you might spend $1,000 and not make a penny. And the whole time you had the wrong campaign objective. You told the social media platforms to get you clicks, but what you actually wanted was sales or leads, right? And you're going to be so mad at yourself, but then you're going to learn from it, right?
yeah.
The reason you would hire a professional is because they've already paid that tax a long time ago. And so they're not going to make those mistakes, right? So what you're paying for is speed to result. Okay. So why wouldn't I change my own oil in my car, even though I can? Because number one, I don't want to do it, right? It's not something that I'm good at, and it's not something that I would pay myself to do. So if I wouldn't pay myself to do it, why would I try to do it myself? But number two, it's going to take time out of me doing other things that are more important for me. And so, if you're the marketer in your business, great. Then focus on creating great campaigns, great offers, great messaging, and then just have someone else help you with the implementation of that strategy and clicking the buttons, because you're going to spend so much time frustrating yourself clicking buttons and messing up that you're not going to do what we call your what's the phrase that Greg always uses, your unique uh, gift or something like that, like your zone of genius, right? The thing that only you can do in your business, and everyone else is going to do a worse job. And if you're trying to be the button clicker, then you're probably going to waste a lot of time and a lot of money doing things that are just going to frustrate you. So that's why you hire someone. But like I said, you should probably do it yourself when you first start, especially if you're just starting a business. Go learn how this works. Go pay that stupidity tax. Spend $3,000 and don't make anything back. But at least you'll learn. So when you do come and hire someone like us, you at least know kind of what you're getting yourself into, how it works, et cetera. So you can tell the frauds from the people that are actually, doing it and able to get results.
Okay, yeah, I think the same. Okay, and this is a question that I'm asking you.
All right. Final question.
Why hire Fiture Marketing and not another one?
Okay, so why would you hire us at Fiture Marketing versus every other option on the planet, including doing nothing?
Yeah.
And the answer, there's only one answer. And the answer is because you want more sales.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because we are unique in this sense. Greg, the owner of Fiture Marketing, has been in sales for 20 years. I have been in sales since the day since 1 month after I graduated college back in 2010. I started in sales, and I've been in sales and marketing the entire time. Right, so 14 years now. And so, uniquely, a lot of times with marketers, there's a lot of things that people care about. They care about branding, they care about image, they care about all these different, video, graphic design, all, SEO, all these things that are all contributors to the wheel that is marketing, right? But the
Yeah.
unique sliver that we fall into is sales. It's the only thing that we care about, and it's the thing that we're better than 99.9% of people at. And so, because of that, we're uniquely positioned to help people get sales really quickly. Whereas you might go to another agency and they're going to spend so much time creating beautiful videos and all these graphics, and before it's a month before you ever even turn on a campaign, and then it's another month before they go through. And we're like, nah, man, like, dude, you came to us to get sales, and that's what we do. We're here to get you sales, and yeah, that's why our clients like working with us. And so, and the other thing is we're really good at selling ourselves, and so
Yeah.
that confidence rubs off on other people, and they want to be a part of it and have that same confidence in their business. So.
Yeah. I don't remember to say that, but that we don't sell likes, we sell leads, or
Sales.
what
Yeah, we don't sell likes and follows. We sell sales.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the only that you can't feed yourself off of likes and follows, unfortunately. So you got to get sales, man. You have to. That's the name of the game. Otherwise, you don't have a business. You have a hobby. And so,
Yeah.
um, but Mariana, I appreciate you spending the time interviewing today. If anybody is interested, you can go to fituremarketing.com and book a call. If you do book a call on the calendar, you'll be talking to me. So you'll be able to get to see those what I call covert sales and persuasion skills in person. And yeah, we appreciate you guys watching. And Mariana, any final words?
Well, thank you for watching the whole video. If you have some more questions about it, we can answer for sure. And thank you, AJ, for answering all the questions.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Bye.